Hey folks, I am Snuffleupagus, and you are here to watch a Do's and Dark Calls semi-final game between Scotsword of the second-seeded team, the Garlic Farmers, playing Hunters, and WcKaczek of the third-seeded team, the greatest player, blah 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 blah, playing a Dracula. I'm not alone, thankfully. I got my good buddy CardDontShoot here. Want to say hi?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me, Snuff. Appreciate it.
Yep, great to have you. Ooh, we got a hired scouts immediately. It's not Cologne or Valona. These two players have been in the community for a very long time, much longer than me, and they play at a breakneck pace.
We're seeing that already immediately settling in here to that standard start that Scott likes doing, having both Godalming and Mina in Vienna, spreading it out while having Seward in Madrid, and then, of course, Helsing in London, just to make sure that the cheeky UK start isn't nearly as effective.
Oh yeah, it's a good balanced start, and it has a lot of coverage over the map there. And we already have a horse draw. That's a good pull for Scott Sword. And Long Night is not a great pull in terms of quality of the Hunter event. Mina showing that Long Night, but it is nice to have on Mina because it hides the next event she would draw. So all in all,
A little
from
bit
what
of
we can
coverage there.
tell,
Always nice.
yeah. So from what we tell, it looks okay for Scott Sword starting out. Looking forward to seeing how this all goes.
Second scouts already.
Oof, not Varna
Varna
Constanta.
and Constanta. Okay, so checking the sort of usual suspects, as it were, those extremities. A lot of players definitely like to start either in that far east or start in Cologne and do that sort of standard move into Amsterdam and then misdirect back.
Yeah, including WcKaczek. I mean, he does lots of different things, but he does like a good East start like everyone does. Um, Very interesting. I We didn't see a scan of any higher scouts towards Britain. I might have taken toss one in Ireland, one in Edinburgh just to be safe, but it doesn't really. Oh, early dark
Ooh,
call.
okay. We've seen Dark Call be either incredibly effective this tournament, getting some of those nasty Dracula events like Darkness Returns or Devilish Power, and we've also seen it be completely useless, such as False Tip and Roadblock.
Yep. This one didn't show a prompt, and it wasn't an immediate play one, so we know it's not. Well, in addition to knowing it's not like an Emmanuel Hildesheim or something, we
Mm-hmm.
also can presume it's not a roadblock and not a summon storms. But that still leaves a whole wide array of things that this drag event could be. So I'm
Could be
interested to
something
see.
really pivotal like an Enrage. It could be something less nice like a Wild Horses.
Uh, well, I mean, Wild Horses, since the devs changed how it works, Wild Horses went from being kind of like a not very good drag event to being one of the best, I think.
Mm,
WcKaczek actually put Wild Horses in his S tier along with what was it, Darkness Returns and Unearthly Swiftness in WcKaczek's drag event tier list on YouTube.
ah,
Oh,
okay.
Snuff, your voice is way quieter. Hold on a second. Darkness Returns and okay. I don't know why that is. It sounds okay on my phone. Also, hi JB Philly, thanks for tuning in.
What's up, Philly?
Yeah, he's saying my voice is way quieter. Yeah, I don't really know what to do about that because on my YouTube on my phone that I'm following along with, it sounds fine. Um, so I'm just gonna keep on rolling. Also because even if there was a problem, I am so not tech savvy, I wouldn't know how to fix it anyhow. So
we
I
have
apologize
a
in advance, JBP.
we have a third
Another
scouts coming
Scouse,
out.
not Bari and Knots. Wow, where is Drac?
Okay. I
Maybe
mean, the
middle of the
more we
map?
scout out, could be middle of the map. It could be that England start. We haven't seen an evil presence come out yet.
True. The thing with the
which
England start, though, is he didn't misdirect that first space. So he didn't do the
right.
common thing with England where you start in Manchester, go to Edinburgh, misdirect, go back, right? So if it is an England start, he's going to be having to like hide or feed or a wolf to Plymouth or something very soon, if that is what we're looking at. My guess is that since he didn't misdirect that first one, is that it's not an England start. Um, but it can't be ruled out exactly yet. My gut is that it's probably like maybe a Southern Gallia start, maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
Could be Southern Gallia. I have a feeling it might be something like starting in Belgrade, maybe even Bucharest, and just sort of getting that sort of layer circle going.
Yeah, that could be as well. That Klausenberg start, that can be a really good, easy layer to go to as the hunters try to go by you in order to deal with the trail, and then you go back to that layer. That's proven tricky for
Hmm.
hunter players in this tournament.
It'll be interesting to see what exactly Dracula does here. If he does move again, it starts to make the idea of an England start less likely. Magic number there being 5 land cards or 6 land cards without anything special in the way, like a wolf form or a misdirect.
Yeah, seems like he doesn't feel any strong need to do anything funky. He's just building his trail methodically. Going back to that comment about wild horses, one of the things that's really nice is that Rufus, okay,
Okay.
allied it. Um, that makes sense to me. And
Hmm.
Scotsword has long thought that Rufus is the best of the three allies, which is a little bit controversial opinion, but not not
It's
crazy,
obviously
but
Jonathan
debatable.
Harker.
I mean, honestly, at this point, like in the early game like this, you could argue that.
Yeah, Harker would be great right now.
Yeah. Later in the game, not so much, but I mean, yeah, at this point in the game, Parker's probably more useful than Rufus. But but yeah, wild horses used to be that it didn't actually affect movement by horses, and then about a year ago when they did the Immortal update, the rule was changed so that you know, wild horses can be used both on a hunter road move or a hunter horse move.
That is
Um,
insane.
So now it's a good tool for Dracula to be used whenever he is jumped on by basically more than one hunter. You can just kind of keep it in your back pocket and turn a multi-hunter combat to a single hunter. And ooh,
Ooh, check for the
Salonica!
hide. Oh, I think there it is. Salonica start.
Man, Scott was just jumping, like using those many scouts to hit spaces all around her, but just missed that Salonica. It's but now it's kind of moved because Scott Sword can get there, fairly easily if he has horses. And we know he already has a horse on Mina, so he should be able to get there.
Yeah, either
Natalia is in the
horse or
chat,
retarded.
by the way. Welcome, Natalia. Natalia is in uh, Scott Sword's Discord community, like his Twitch follower community. So it's nice to have
Oh,
her
cool.
coming over. Yeah. So if anyone else in the chat wants to say hello, give me a shout out. I got you on my phone on the side, and I'm keeping tabs on the comments. JB Philly says Wild Horses even works on Sense of Emergency. That card is so powerful.
Oh, I didn't
Absolutely.
consider that.
The only thing it doesn't work on is rail movement.
Hmm.
So if the hunters see Wild Horses prompts coming out and they're about to try to jump on Dracula, they might try to use rail to get on it if they can. So it's something to think about. But you can imagine, right, before they did the change, it only affected movement on the hunters by road without events. So
Yeah.
that was obviously a kind of a D tier card, and it just
Hmm.
rocketed up the value chain, basically. The,
Something about even using that in this lair strategy could be done to play wild horses and pull a hunter in to a really bad encounter. Like if
oh yeah,
Dracula is on a hide space, going into a fog trap, or if it's like the hunter just dealt with a vampire encounter and then forced to deal with a Dracula combat at night, just setting the hunters back can really see the wheels sort of fall off the wagon.
yeah. JB Philly is saying it's an important balancing measure against fast horses, the rail mechanic, and it's a reason for using rail moves and chartered carriage, and for those to
Mm,
exist. And I completely agree. It does add a
well
little
said.
bit of interesting complexity to the game. And I will say, talking about, as you were saying, using fast horses to move the hunters onto a bad layer, or you're right, that is a very valuable use. And I have to say, I'd be very interested to see if WcKaczek does that because when I have fast horses, I'm always way too scared to use it for that. I always am like, I need to save it for when I'm jumped on, and I
Hmm.
would never use it for that. But I know that it can have a lot of value using it, as you said. And WcKaczek is more of an aggressive draft than I play, and he likes to set up situations where he can kill a hunter. And so I think that he, as a player, is more likely to use the approach you suggested and take that calculated risk. So it'd be very interesting to see one if he has wild horses, and two if he does have it, if he uses it in that way.
Hmm. Looking at the trail right now, since WcKaczek has not misdirected his starting land encounter card, not land encounter card, land card, he is going to be able to layer that and possibly move back and have two encounters on it.
Yeah, and
I'm
wasn't
wondering if he's thinking either of that Valona start. It could be that he's just into Sofia and he's looping around in Baltica and then sort of that 49, 6, or 10 space.
wasn't Valona searched with a scout? I think it was, right? I think that
Was it
start might be
Valona or was it
Sofia.
Athens?
I think he searched Valona and Cologne, and then he did
Valona, Cologne,
Constanta
and then
Varna. I think he
yes, and then
started in
he did
Sofia, went to
then
Salonika,
he
and
did
just
Bari
looped
and
around.
Nantes.
Oh, you're right. That was the second or third of the three scouts, Bari
Hmm.
not. But I think that when he searched Valona, WcKaczek wouldn't have gone there yet. I think the movement is Sofia, Salonika, Hyde, Valona, and now he's probably in Sarajevo. Ooh,
Evil presence.
adjacent.
Okay. Adjacent. Not a ton of information there. We know he's basically not in 59.
One thing to note here, though, is that there isn't movement by Mina or Godalming. So this rumor token on Salonika, there is it may not mature, but to stop it from maturing, Scotsword would need to use renewed vigor to get it. And even if he did, it'd be kind of hard to prevent that mature because the hide card could very easily be like a saboteur or a bat. So if this Salonica with the rumor token is a vampire, which with the rumor token you assume it is, there's a
Hmm.
pretty good chance that it matures and Wakachik jumps to a like a quick 7 point, like not lead, but like get a quick 7 points, which could make things
And that seven
very,
points is crucial because then Dracula only needs to move twice during week 4, or once if Dracula can escape by bat.
yeah, yeah, that would do it too. Going for the niche but important scenario. So it'll be it. Okay, well,
This
Scotcher just
is in
confirmed it.
Austria-Hungary. Okay.
My guess is that maybe Scotcher's ticket economy wasn't set up, and that's why he didn't feel comfortable going that route. Because actually, wasn't it revealed on the fourth spot? If Scotcher could have gone to like Sarajevo when Salonika was revealed, oh, maybe he couldn't have, because it would
So
have been
last
revealed at
round,
night.
Dracula wasn't adjacent to any of the hunters, and this round for the psychic scan, Dracula was in Austria-Hungary. Makes me think Dracula was most likely in either 49, maybe 53, and has now moved on.
Well, there's a second thing under the spaces on now, so he has to be in Sofia. It has to be that trail
Hmm.
we were talking about earlier. Sofia looping around to Sarajevo and then back to Sofia. So what's going to happen is most likely the Salonika is going to be a vamp that's going to mature, and then after that is done, uh, Sarajevo will be on the trail, and then Sofia will be on the trail. So that and Sofia is going to have a double encounters. This is going to be a tricky situation for the hunters, um, because like if you want to go, well, they're going to be down 7 points. They're going to have to deal with this double encounter, and then after they deal with the double encounter, they're probably not going to know which space Dracula goes to after that. right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Sophia connects to one, two, three, four, five different cities.
Big question here when trying to deal with the layer strat, and not saying that is what WcKaczek is doing, but certainly in a good position to go for it if they want to, is is it better to go in and sort of kick the bee's nest, as it were, and get the encounters out? Or to say, no, you can have Salonika, you can have the 7 points, and then the three encounters are all just wiped off. Because at some point, Dracula has to move.
Um, you're talking about Sophia, like after, because the rumor token's going to mature in wipe three. Are you talking about what
It
to
would
do
wipe three,
after?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
just sort of going forward here, because if Salonika does mature here, then they get Dark Call. But okay, there's the Restless. They get Dark Call, they get Hide, and they get the unknown one there, which is most likely 55.
JB Phillips says if Dracula is doing a lair strat, it's pretty important to disrupt it before it can be too strong.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, he did do a lair strat for Sophia, but obviously now there's nothing else no other lairs he can go to.
Exactly, because everything's just been cleared off.
So I think the trick for Scotsword's going to be figuring out which way he goes, which can be a little tricky. I might even try to like, I was going to say get another scan, but a scan will only tell you it's not Belgrade. I don't
Three
know.
scouts have been used. It's possible that a newspaper can come up, and that would be big, revealing where Dracula went. We
If you
haven't seen a
could,
lot of other information come out quite yet. We would have to assume the hunters are at least well supplied. They've taken the first week to do so. And we would hope that their ticket situation is taken care of so they can start getting their horse economy going.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Given how early it is, we don't really have a good sense of their item distribution. None of the discards are that bad, other than maybe some stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the hunters might want to try to like move. Well, I was gonna say move Drac inland, right? Maybe prevent him from going sailing out of Valona or Salonika, but Drac has his wolf form, so he could just escape west at this point. I guess what the hunters need to do is just set themselves up and find a way to jump on Drac before he realizes that they're going to. We'll see. We'll see.
It's always tricky, and I had to deal with this a lot, and I was humbled quite a few times as the hunter player for my team, where if you overcommit the number of hunters into the east to try to jump on Drac, and if Drac slips through, now the hunters have a problem of one, finding where Drac went, and two, getting the hunters back into position to put pressure.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. If you overcommit with your hunters and then Dracula slips out to say Valona and heads west, it can be time consuming to get the hunters back. Um, it's tricky. There's a chartered carriage on Mina. So with chartered carriage, it can help me to get west if Drac moves west. Otherwise, you might want to move that chartered carriage over to someone like Seward so he can get to the east faster if you think you're going to be able to get a fight in the east now. It's tricky.
Mm-hmm. We see Scott still cycling through tickets here. That could be either to try to improve horse economy, getting the yellow ones out, or worst case scenario is trying to find that last white one or glue ticket.
Yeah, I suspect his horse economy and glue tickets are not set yet, which is a very tricky situation this
We haven't
late in the
seen have
game.
we seen a fast horses activation yet? I don't think we have.
We haven't, which makes me think maybe he does
Oh,
have
that's
all the glue
concerning.
tickets. Yeah. JB Philly's saying um, in this case there's barely any trail and it's a nice spot for the hunters, assuming they have movement. Very tough for the hunters since they don't have movement.
Mm-hmm.
They have to
Mm-hmm.
choose between finding the trail and just continuing to supply, but letting it continue to build a presumably nasty trail. That's right. It seems like they're trying to deal with the trail and find it. Um,
And this is the big threat to this, is that we've had one vampire already mature with a rumor encounter, and now there is a double encountered space with that second rumor token. If that is a vamp, it could very well just end the game right there. Here
Okay,
comes the horse, though.
good. Godalming's gonna be the one to take care of it. So
Okay,
if
and
it
a hide
is,
on Sophia.
it's smart to have Godalming go for a couple of reasons. One, he has more health, so if this is a vamp and multiple damaging encounters, he can tank the damage. Two, oh, there's bats. Okay,
Oh,
tricky.
okay.
And a reckless.
Okay.
Ooh, oh, this could be
Yep.
painful. So if he takes damage from two vamps and then gets batted into Drac, that could be very dangerous. Um,
And here we go. First combat of the game.
yeah. I was gonna say the other thing is that Mina can't really deal with the vamps either because she doesn't know what Dracula's event card is, and it could be seduction. And if Mina searches a vamp and Dracula has seduction, he can use it to give Mina a bite, which will kill her. Uniquely
Oh, I
among the
didn't even
hunters, right?
consider that
So
as a
that's another.
seduction
The
card.
fact that we don't know what that Drac event is, there's not even like a sign like the prompt, right, that would say it's something else, means that
Mm-hmm.
Scotsword needs to be careful because losing Mina might just lose him the game here, right? He'd be at
Mm-hmm.
Drac would be at 10 IDS. It would be terrible.
With mesmerize into a
Ooh,
host. Okay.
oh boy. So Scotsword knows he needs to deal with that, and he needs to deal with that, however he can. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that play.
I
It's going
agree.
to make things very difficult, right? If Okay, and there's the other reckless. It's going to make things very difficult if he gets batted into Drac, but I think you just need to deal with that. Um, so I like that Heavenly Host play.
I
Bit of
think
a
it's also the
gamble, right?
best time to use it. Looking
Yeah.
at that item draw pile, there's only 6 left, and Hunter's best action is to supply during the day. So odds are that host is going to come back if a CG becomes relevant later on.
Yeah, and the item deck is almost out, so he will get a chance to get it back. A knife. Okay. So now
I
we
was about to
know.
say, what if it was just a second host?
Yeah, that would be insane. Okay, so that helps Gomez a little bit. The knife is some protection. But the fact that he's going for the knife means he is clearly trying to kill this vamp. He does not have a stake right now. Um, so
See what Godalming tries to do here.
escape. Okay.
Okay, good.
Honestly,
Good.
that's a good outcome for Scotsword. He killed one of the vamps. He still needs to kill the other. He's going to get batted onto Drac probably, but he has one knife to protect him. He hasn't taken any damage. Drac's not going to be able to kill him. So Drac might not even want to bat him onto to himself,
And
given
there's
that
also
he
the
didn't take any
possibility that
damage.
Helsing's day turn here could be to trade cards to Godalming. Maybe an escape route, maybe a planned ambush, maybe a
Yes,
Lucy's Revenge.
great point. That is a real possibility. So the trick is going to be how does he deal with that second vamp? He has a little bit of time, but you're going to be really nervous about Mina dealing with it. The other hunters aren't that close, so that is a tricky situation. Oh, Mina's dealing with Sarajevo. What could that be? Yeah, this is such a tough situation because if it is seduction, he's screwed, right? Being at 10,
Mm-hmm.
losing a hunter, right? And all that entails would be awful. Losing a horse on that hunter. But at the same time, he needs to deal with this trail. Okay.
And moving him straight on to Dracula with a new vampire. Oh, this is going to be rough.
It is. Um, but there's a little bit of a risk for Drac here because if Godalming gets away and he survives this, now he's in a big city. So he can supply the stake fairly
Mm.
efficiently. And that'll help him deal with that rumored vamp. Okay, Claw. Makes sense
Claws.
to me. So he
Okay,
gets
yep.
away. Now he is at 7 health, which is tough because he can die to Drac with 7 health, right? 2 claws will kill him. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have anything anti-claw. But if he does get out, he's in a better position to deal with that vamp because he got batted into Bucharest rather than, say, batting him into, like, uh, Sarajevo or a small city or Valona. I might be tempted to bat him into Sarajevo and not take this fight here if I was WcKaczek. Just to put more pressure on dealing with that vamp. But then again, maybe WcKaczek doesn't have seduction, knows he doesn't have seduction, assumes Mina has a stake, and so wants to take this advantageous fight while he can, which would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Looking at the discard, we only see 2 stakes in there right now. There are 4 in the deck. With 5 cards left to draw, it's a pretty safe assumption that at least
Oh,
one, if not two, of the hunters has a stake.
oh, I totally forgot he moved at night. So there's not a combat with Drac right now.
Oh, well,
Whoops.
that's even better then.
Okay, so yeah, that's actually fairly advantageous for Scotsword, actually. Now he knows where Dracula is. He's not going to die. Mina
There's a
needs.
stake.
Ooh,
Okay, wolves.
okay.
Okay.
So Mina. So Scotsword is not all that worried about the seduction,
No.
which is interesting. We'll see if that ends up hurting him.
Oh
Okay,
my, he
interesting.
dark calls here?
Wow. Dracula. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Oh,
good pull.
good pull. Although thankfully it's not going to be able to be put on Sophia. And actually, he would only get to put something on Bucharest, which will probably want to do. But he could use it for the ally effect, since you only have one space to put a thing under.
Hmm.
Interesting. Interesting situation.
If you were WcKaczek here, would you press your luck a little bit and try to force the Dracula's brides as an ally?
Yeah.
Or would you just take the one right now?
Hmm.
Being
It's
able to cycle through those encounter cards is always incredibly valuable. He just goes for corrupt. Okay.
okay. Interesting.
Makes Bucharest a little bit tougher. In case another hunter wants to come in there and try to help Godalming out. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize you could put something under the hide. Look at that. He was able to put something under the hide under Sophia that used to have the bats.
Really?
I
That
didn't know you could do that. Fascinating. Well,
choose
that
up to
makes it
2 hideouts from among the first, second, or third spaces of the trail. Place one encounter on each. That's interesting because the way I read that card would make me think you couldn't do that.
Yeah. Huh. Because I don't think of hide a revealed hide certainly as a hideout, but then
Now, see, now I have to look at hide.
fascinating. Huh. You might have to look into that rule. Interesting.
Based on the trail, the location card to the right of the space is revealed. Reveal this card too. Place an
JB Philly
encounter
says,
card
what
on
if
the
it's
card.
another bats law? Then Bucharest is double vamp. Mina would be toast. Yeah.
Yeah, Mina would be toast. Okay, JP Philly also saying that hide is considered a hideout card.
Okay.
Probably just because the backing is the same. It's not considered a special card then.
Makes sense.
Or it's considered both.
Huh. How does Scotsword weasel his way out of this? Is there a play here?
This is a tough spot. And I think it really does come down to earlier, as you were saying, we still do not know what that Dracula event card is. It could be something relatively harmless, or it could be something like seduction and be game ruining for the hunters.
Scotsword was thinking about playing some there. I wonder if he was considering renewed vigor. Like there was a pause on that dawn prompt.
Hmm.
All right, so we
So
know that
day fight
Godalming.
versus Dracula. We know
Yep.
Godalming has just the horse and the knife.
So and there's no Rufus is still in play. So there's no Aggie. So Dracula could heal a little bit off this combat. But he's got to guess properly on the knife. So, it really depends on what Scotland has in terms of events. Because if you have CG, you might feel comfortable trying to deal some damage and then forcing Dracula westward.
Hmm.
But then Drac hasn't used his wolf form yet, so it's not as painful to be CG'd here as it might be otherwise. And we know that it's not.
Also trying to also trying to think what the game plan is. Obviously, we don't know what Sword cards. Oh my god, say that 10 times fast. If he's trying to simply escape here, or if he is trying to. Okay, he is trying to escape.
Yep, yep. Okay, makes sense. But that's another win for Dracula. He heals a little bit. So what could the play be? Does Scotcher need to stop paying attention to the trail and try to kill Drac within the next couple of moves? But then he can't be confident in doing that because one of those that Dracula could easily be like an Unearthly Swiftness, which would allow him to mature that vamp next turn.
Oh, bad horse.
Bad horse. Thoroughbred Ascend strikes again. This is not going well for the hunters right this second. Man. I just have no idea how you would go about dealing with this if you're in the hunter's position.
This is a tricky spot. I feel like, yeah, I'm not even sure. Going back to what you said earlier, in that the hunters had that sort of dawn prompt, it's possible that they're sitting on a renewed vigor and waiting for Dracula to move so they could just jump on him.
Okay. So that vamp lair was just played. That could save the hunter's life right now because that Sophia mature. Oh God, what's gonna happen
Oh,
now?
this could be
Oh
bad.
boy, yeah. Well, here's the deal. By going for that Sophia, if this is another bat, oh, it's a soil. Okay,
Okay, whatever.
yeah. Um,
Obviously, a good event for Dracula to have, digging for some of their stronger encounters, the fogs, other vampires.
so now we assume Mina is doing this because she has a stake. She's gonna get
Mm-hmm.
this vamp, and even if she couldn't kill the vamp, it would only be 12. He's gonna take the
And
fight.
being ambushed by it. I would imagine WcKaczek wouldn't be ambushing if they had a seduction. They wouldn't want to risk the
JB
vampire
Philly
dying
says
in a
nice
cave
vamp.
fight.
Oh, sorry. JB Philly says nice vamp player, but man, you hate to see a stake burned with all these vamps on the trail. Yeah, I agree with that. Um,
More like
although,
disappointing spoil.
honestly though, this new vamp, if the other ones, a new vamp is 3 points and a vamp layer heals saves you 2 points. So it's only net giving Dracula one to mature the new vamp. The question will be, what is the other card that was placed under Bucharest? Okay, Mez into a
Mesmerized.
dodge. All
Not
right.
much. Okay, fair, fair.
JB Philly says desecrated soil, more like disappointing soil. It's pretty funny.
I have to ask Snuff, since you have far more experience watching Scott play as hunters. Is he a dodge first, then get away, or is he a punch first, then try to kill?
He's usually a escape burst. I think once in a
Interesting.
while he
Okay.
was trying to vary it up. Like, I don't think he's normally a dodge firster, but he did here. I wonder. I need to not be like Scotsword and not go away from the combat. I always feel tempted to look at the world map as well. I want to see game out the
We have a
double
second
mez
mesmerize.
into a
Oh, knife.
knife. Interesting. Does that mean she doesn't have a stake?
So we know Mina has a knife, and I believe we know Mina has a stake because she searched the wolf encounter earlier
Oh,
with one.
yes, obviously. But she
And
was
so then
trying to
her
get the
third item is
kill.
the horse.
She was trying to get the kill without the stake so she could use it on the new vamp. Right.
Hmm.
Makes
So now
sense.
just try to get away here?
Ooh, plotting. Okay. Gets
Good
away.
escape. Good escape.
I like that.
Scott Sword going in, using the first two action rounds to
That's a good
prevent
combat.
damage, prevent bites, get away, and provided that Dracula doesn't have seduction here, can clear the Sophia lair.
My combat hands. Fine. So this is the last stake. Use it on this vamp. Yep, sounds good. What is? Oh.
Okay, we've a dusk
Oh,
combat
right.
here.
Yes, we do, because Godalming, um, Godalming couldn't move off of it.
Big combat here.
Yeah. So Godalming can ensure that he only takes 4 damage, so he can guarantee not dying. But and I think that's what Scott's going to do because he's a very conservative player. I think he's just going to do dodge, uh, escape dodge, and take. Oh wait, I'm sorry. This is dust combat. Forget I said that.
It's
Forget I said that.
dusk, so
He could
the
die.
claws sadly do double.
Oh yeah, forget I said that. Oof.
It's possible that Godalming has something to deal with this, being able to supply and having his wealth ability to drop two items. He could have easily gotten a gun or a pistol.
No, he only has 2 items right now.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, because he was batted on there and he was delayed during the day, so
Oh, that's right, the delay.
he couldn't move away. Because if he could, I'm sure he would have gone to like Constanta or something, and he couldn't supply. So, ooh,
Things.
into a
Duh, good
dodge.
dodge.
Yeah. Although you kind of want to get out there. I don't know if I like that dodge. But, I mean, I guess something's got to give. So do you. So he's already been mesmerized. Do you
Mm-hmm.
escape now? I guess you escape now. Yeah, you have to escape now. Dark Call. Dracula might want to escape as a bat now, I think. Because he'd be pulling the Dark Call off the trail. He'd be creating some confusion about where he's gone. If
Is there
Dracula.
any world that Scott guesses that and plays the knife here? There's no way, right?
He wouldn't take that risk, I don't think. But. Ooh,
Fangs into. Okay,
escape.
escape.
Okay, well, that's. Oh, he's got great strength. But he's probably
Okay,
not going
that's
to use
good.
it. He's probably going to use it because it's only going to give him a bite. He's not going to die. You want to save that great
Yeah.
strength for when you would die. Okay.
Dracula does get a point back
Yep.
and some of that health, which is very big.
Yeah. So Dracula
All nice
returns to full
things.
health. He's going to lose the Vamp unless there's seduction, and then the hunters are going to have to regroup a little bit here. Um, and I think this is finally the time where Drac is going to want to stop, is going to start try to get away here
Hi,
because.
Jordy. Welcome to the stream, bud.
Hola, Jordy. Side note, since Jordy's here, I didn't realize company is teammate, not friend. You always said it to Scotsword, and I assumed it was just like hi friend. And so I've been saying it to you. And on Scotsword's stream yesterday, he was like, that's teammate, right? So I apologize for calling you teammate inappropriately.
Oh,
Oh
that's the
no!
seduction!
It was a seduction! Oh my
Oh,
lord!
that's atrocious.
Wow! Whoa! We were worried about it this whole time. I get why Scotland had to take the risk. Wow. Sorry, I'm done with this rule. To be honest. Wow. Man, I don't even know what to say about that. What do you even do?
I, God, I don't know if you were
Wow.
in a position as Hunter to play around that.
Yeah. I often disagree with your evaluation of Drake because this one here was stupid. Yeah, WcKaczek is
I mean,
drawing
yeah,
everything he needs. This is just painful to watch.
you could argue his combat hands haven't been great, but that is brutal.
So, I mean, I will say, so Scott's kind of like the GOAT of this community because he's won so many tournaments. He's won every tournament he has played in. So, but that being said, he will really prove his GOAT status, greatest of all time status, if he can find a way to win this game because I have
It's
no idea
not
how he would do it.
impossible,
He needs to, like,
depending on. Oh man,
because if this vamp matures, and assuming there's no second vamp, which there very well could be a second vamp, right? The vamp mature in Bucharest would take Drac to 12 points, down a horse, like, hired scouts.
okay. I mean, do you just try to jump on
Constanta and
Constanta,
Klausenberg.
Klossberg?
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. So I guess the small solace is that you said Constanta and Klausenberg, right? So he's either in Galatra to be ridiculous, or he's in Belgrade. So if you have like CG, you can maybe force his movement a little bit, or keep him in Belgrade. So that might be some solace.
Dracula still has Wolf here. It's just, man, this is a tough spot for hunters to deal with.
JB Philly is saying Scott should have made the right choice because the odds of seduction were so low, and I agree with that.
Yeah,
Especially this
yeah.
position, right, where you didn't have the influence points to play around. Like you either needed to kill that vamp or potentially lose. Because if it was, Unholy Swiftness, you're gonna die to that. So I agree he had to take that gamble given the situation. But man, I feel for him.
That is rough.
Um, Last point, just not to put the horse before the cart here, but we didn't say this going in, but Scott's team has won the first game of this matchup. This is a best of three matchup. So even if Scott's loses this game, his team will have a chance to still win because Geo beat Scott's teammate Geo beat WcKaczek's teammate Terminus in earlier in the week. Um, in order for Scotsword's team to have their pick of roles first, like to have the choice of whether to go into the tiebreak game as Hunters or as Dracula, they will need to win by 8 IDS or more.
Okay. So
So,
Dracula would have to be at 5 health or less.
uh,
Is
five.
that, am I mathing right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, if they then need to win. Well, if they win, it doesn't matter. Yeah, 5 health or
So
less.
7 or
Correct.
less?
Five,
It's
five.
8?
Yeah, because 7 health or less? It might be 7 health or less.
This is my brain on no coffee, by the way.
That's all good. Oh, okay, he's in
Moving into
Sarajevo.
Sarajevo, okay. It's obvious that he's not really concerned about Amina that just got out of hospital. Godalming's pretty low. He's almost baiting both hunters to jump into him.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a CG, it's not as good as it could be because he has wolf form, and he would probably use it. But if you can just force him off of this double encounter space, I would probably do it.
As hunters, would you just go for it and throw Godalming and Seward into there?
I might. Depends on what I had, right?
Use the Yeah,
Just
use the day action. Maybe Helsing has something. We know he has great strength. That's one thing.
yep, that is helpful.
It's possible that Godalming would have a Lucy's Revenge to prevent the first bat escape.
JB says that the
Seward is
CG of
fully
into
stocked.
Seward, that's the only thing that could save hunters now. But we know it's not a. The thing is, they can't they can't force him onto Seward because he has one, he has wolf form, and two, there's a heavenly host in the discard, right? Still, yeah. So
Philly also saying that it's possible that Van Helsing could get into there as well with a sense of emergency.
yeah, for sure. If
Okay. Choosing not to do anything for Dawn.
yeah, that makes me think maybe a CG is more likely. Because I think that if you didn't have CG but you did have renewed vigor, and you could get multiple hunters on him, you might just roll the dice.
Hmm. That's the thing about this game. It can look like Dracula is running away with it, but with just one or two good hunter events, sometimes all it takes, and one combat to kill Dracula.
Yeah. Or are they gonna try to,
Sewer just supplying on 459.
or maybe they're trying to
Okay.
elongate the game and just have Godalming deal with Bucharest. That could be as well.
One thing I've always admired about the way Scott plays hunters is that he is always patient. He only goes in when he feels like he actually has a chance. He doesn't go in too early. He's in a position right now where he can ignore Sarajevo for a little while, get his hunters back up to speed. There is still time left. We're only nearing the end of the third week here, or the
Uh,
second week rather.
yes, that's right. Second week. Um, we have a pause. If he's thinking about CG, I think you put tokens in Sofia, Valona, and Belgrade. And in that case, it's Dracula could do a useless feed
Mm-hmm.
or wolf form somewhere, or walk on a Seward. And I think that would be beneficial to do. Because even if he wolf forms, he's either going to be in Munich, where you could get multiple hunters onto him, or he's going to be inland somewhere where you could like box him in. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's probably what I would do if I had the CG. Or he could stay in Sarajevo and feed, in which case he's wasting his feed, which might actually be the best play, honestly, because if he's on something really good.
Mm-hmm. Such as a fog or another bats, or it could even just be two more vampires, right? And he's baiting hunters to come in, and he just wants to get another kill.
Yeah, even like a double mob there would be pretty good, even if it was just that. Okay.
We
Well,
trade between
I
Helsing and
guess it's
Seward
not going to be
here.
CG because Mina surely doesn't have any. Mina doesn't have it, so my dream scenario is not going to happen. And I think what What Kaczek is probably going to do, given his style of play, is go to Sophia after this and do another lair thing.
We'll have 2 encounters on Sophia.
Yeah,
It won't matter too much that the hunters know where he's at. It's a full health Dracula.
because if you're
Of
not
course,
going
the
there, you're
hide
going to
event.
Valona, which honestly wouldn't be bad. But given what Kaczek's
No.
style, I think he's gonna go Sophia.
And if Dracula does go by sea, I think exiting through something like Salonika would be a little bit stronger than Valona here.
Yeah, I
If
get
that's what he
that.
decides on doing.
Yeah.
Still have that vampire on Bucharest to deal with. It's possible that the hidden encounter there is just a reckless, which could, well, that wouldn't be good.
The yes, yeah. That's the trick, right? Even like if it's an aristocratic, Godalming can't ignore it.
Okay, so wolf forming here.
Okay, interesting. I like that move because it creates a lot of uncertainty as to what he's doing.
So he could be up to 2 spaces away now from Sarajevo. For all we know, he could have just broken back to the east. He might be in Athens right now. Hyde is about to slide off the trail.
So I might maybe want to use renewed vigor and speedy telegraph just to like scan Austria.
Hmm.
Maybe not. I don't know. Tough situation all around.
Be sneaky if he tried to go northwest here and just in Vienna right now. That's probably one of the last places that I would guess he is as hunters.
Yeah. I guess if you scanned Austria, he could only be in Klausenberg or Vienna. Um, I guess maybe I don't know. Going to Varna here would be interesting because you'd be forcing the hunters to like step on your layers to get to you potentially. Going
Don't
to
believe we've
Athens
seen
would
a
be
fog
good because
yet.
it's far. Athens would be good because it's
Yeah.
far, and then you could hide there, and then you can go to sea and just leave the hunters all this mess to deal with. There's just a
And
lot
the
of
hunters
good things
presumably
to
have to
do.
clear all of this because the influence is just so high already.
Yeah. Geo's thinking Salonika or Athens.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Even a fake wolf form to Valona could be interesting. You could hide there, and then if the hunters check Athens and then jump in, you could go to Athens after. There's just so many good things to do. The only thing I wouldn't do is maybe um, just go further inland. Is probably the only thing I wouldn't do.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Looking at the board state right now, and it's always an interesting question to ask is how does Dracula how does this unravel for Dracula? What is the worst possible scenario? And I think that being that the hunters get a lucky guess and get a 2v1 or a 3v1 fight when Dracula has their pants down.
Yeah,
So
I
as the
agree.
Dracula player, you're trying to avoid that with every fiber of your being. So I don't think Dracula's being sneaky here. I don't think WcKaczek has to be sneaky here.
Yeah, I I agree. And I think that Athens, Salonika, Varna are all very plausible locations. And even if you know he's not being sneaky, you still got to get the guess correct as to which of those he's in. And it's also not that crazy for him to be in Munich. So I'm sure Skep's gonna be tempted to check Munich too. Just an awful, 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 very difficult situation.
Could be in Munich breaking west. We know that Mina doesn't have the horse because it was discarded and it was just reshuffled. So he would be getting a 2v1 at worst if Helsing had a sense of emergency. Okay,
Got
telegraph.
Speedy Telegraph. I do like that because you could like have Helsing check Munich first before sending the
Hmm.
other people east. That makes sense to me. Or you okay, renewed vigor as
And
well.
renewed vigor. Okay, so here comes the big turn for hunters.
Okay. Oh, nice Aggie draw. And you have Surprising Return. When can you use Surprising Return? Or
It's
should it
on
Grace's
dawn
Grave?
or dusk. I imagine he searches something like Athens here with it. I don't think he's in a rush to get Aggie down as an ally.
Yeah, you can search, and then at the Dusk combat if you need it, get
It's
Aggie back.
possible he searches Munich with this. Okay, yeah, smart. I like that.
Yeah, particularly smart if you know, like, Helsing couldn't easily get there, or Helsing has other things to do. Okay, I
Okay, and
like
then
that
checking
too.
Vienna.
Now, have Mina Supply?
Mina supplied and drew Aggie,
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
which is the advantage of Speedy Telegraph, getting quote unquote the weakest hunter to go first and check the back rank. Oh god, bad horse again.
Wow. Just nothing is going right for Scotsword this game. Oof. Desperation RV, but you have to kill this Bucharest Vamps, assuming it's double Vamp. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's just going to kill the Vamps with these, yeah. And then you can use Godalming to take the 2v1 to kill the new Vamp. That would buy him some time, you
Mm-hmm.
know? It's not great.
It would it would force the game to another week, which
Oh, nope, he's not doing that. He's trying to find Drac.
he's just looking for him.
Alright, well, this is probably gonna be. Um, so, okay, Dark Elf on the Trail. So, I guess he's ignoring Drac. He'll take the 2v1 next turn. Harker, would you search Athens
Okay.
probably?
Athens, I would assume probably Valona here.
Salonika, okay.
Okay, Salonika. All right, so it's probably Athens. Like you were saying, Hyde slides off the trail so that he can hide in Athens, or Hyde slides off and then he just goes to Valona and hides there.
Okay, so he's going with the kill the Vamps of Bucharest strat and try to keep this game going a little longer, which makes a lot of sense under the circumstances. Since after that bad horse, you definitely were not going to land on Drac. You certainly weren't going to be able to kill him. So it's still tough, but I think that makes sense. Oh, Fangs of Fire is here. Welcome, Fangs of
Okay, thanks.
Fire. Geo says, in this tournament, I see a lot of games that Seward draws ticket one horse. That is true. Fangs of Fire guesses Varna, and I think it very well could be. You just got in here, but Card and I were thinking, okay, maybe Varna, Salonika, or Athens. Rufus is in place. That makes Varna a little bit less ideal, but the nice thing about Varna is it makes the hunters more likely to step on your lair in Sophia. So there's
Trade
that.
here during the day between Helsing and Godalming.
Okay. I wonder if one of them is like a heroic leap. So if the second thing is another fighter vamp, like particularly another reckless, of which there's only one more, you could heroic leap the reckless, maybe, or maybe it's planned ambush or something to make killing the vamp a little easier. Oh, Fangs has been lurking for a while ever since seduction hit. Okay, so you have seen what a morass and just
What giant
insulting
pile
has
of
been. Yeah,
nonsense this game has been.
yeah. This has just been Dracula supremacy pretty much the whole way through. Um, I was looking through the. Was it you or Combat Wombat yesterday in my game who was saying that like I'm rooting for stuff, but man, I feel bad for Dracula right now. Like I feel like even if you're rooting for WcKaczek, you gotta feel bad for Scott Sword right now.
hmm
Just there's just so little he could do, and he's playing as well as he possibly could. Like I don't really. There's nothing obviously that I would judge as like a mistake. It's just everything being thrown at him.
I don't think there's a world that you can play around seduction there, and the fact that Dracula had it is almost just salt in the wound at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. JB Philly asks if WcKaczek wins, could we then see a rematch of this game? Scott and WcKaczek with the same factions. Yes, I think that's very possible. Um, although I would be interested to see if um, if Geo and Scotsword choose to have Scotsword represent them, because Geo has the better
Really
record this tournament.
zany.
That makes sense because they're probably going to try to fight this in a 2v1. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, trigger the mob. Okay. Yeah, so in the regular season, Geo had a 7-2 record, and Geo won his semifinal game. Scotsword had a 6-3 record. So it might be better for them, just based on the stronger record, to have Geo represent them in a tiebreaker if it comes to that. So, but it'll be up to them to talk amongst themselves and figure things out. But yeah, Geo says it's very possible to have this be a rematch between Scott and WcKaczek.
Very possible.
JB Philly says in the rematch he would bet on Scotsword because without horrible luck like this, the Hunters are still OP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 52-48 record in this tournament seems fairly even. Oh man, the Hunter and because WcKaczek is a veteran, he knew not to ambush, so the Hunters have to take a night fight. Yep, here it comes, night fight.
Here's that planned ambush you were talking about.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. Well, I was assuming it was traded to Godalming, but I guess that was something else. Okay.
Planned ambush is on Godalming, yeah.
I thought it was used by Seward. Oh no, I'm
Uh,
sorry. I'm mistaken. You're correct. All right, let's check
Seward
the.
is only at 5 though. That can be kind of scary.
Yeah, I do think he's more likely to have a gun, so he might be a little bit more protective than it looks. And
And
Drac is
Scott
going to
does
be.
have great strength here, so this isn't quite as dangerous as it could be.
Yeah. GB Philly says he's implying that Hunters are most OP when played by a skilled player like Scotsword. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, if I'm if I'm WcKaczek, I'm assuming there's a gun, maybe with bullets on Seward, but then maybe you'd rather take out the knife with a strength. No, he's going for Seward. Makes sense. Go for the kill.
Strength?
Strength into a
No, you
knife.
called it.
Ooh. No, I thought it would have been a gun on Seward. I guess not. Well, that's tricky. Okay. And we got a what knife?
That's a big discard too.
Okay. What do we switch to? Knife? Knife.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're at 3 health. Um, I guess. What do? You just stop Seward again? You assume a gun and maybe bullets? I'm gonna duck off
And we
very.
have to assume both hunters have weapons here. So is he
Yeah.
going for a mesmerize on Seward or Godalming?
Geo, thank
Maybe a
you very much. I
claws play?
appreciate the kind words. Um, Seward's thinking long and hard about this. Is he thinking maybe a dodge? Is he assuming? Is he considering a punch because there's already been a strength?
I doubt Scott is
Heavenly
wanting to burn the
Host?
great strength here.
Maybe he has a Heavenly Host and a gun is trying to decide between the two. I don't know. What could he be thinking? I look forward to seeing. Well, I look forward to seeing Scott's recording after and figuring out what this thinking is.
Targeting
Here it
Seward
comes.
again.
Fangs
Fangs.
into Heavenly Host.
Oh,
Oh my God!
that's unfortunate.
Wow!
Oh, Kazik is just
Wow! I bet Scott was thinking, okay, he's going to assume a gun. I'm assuming a gun. You're assuming a gun, right? So let's play the Heavenly Host to be
wow.
different. And he gets fanged. Wow. Oh my gosh. Now this
Wow.
revamp. There's no way. This has got to be GG, right? Scott's calling the GDG now. Wow. I mean, technically, right, even if this vamp matures, he's at 12 points. This game will be painfully continuing.
He's a
Um,
bite on Seward and Godalming. Oh my gosh.
there's not going to be any blood left to transfuse. Man, hunters are so cooked. Very bad luck. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This has just been malaise. Just
Kudos to WcKaczek though, doing this strategy and having this very, very
yeah,
good combat. I don't know how he predicts post there on Seward.
yeah. That was not an easy guess, right? Because it's very possible that could have been a gun and bullets. Strength into a knife.
Oh man.
Yeah, Scotsword had to try,
Oh
but
gosh.
naturally, WcKaczek had to just like protect the vamp. All that made total sense. So this vamp's going
And
to
now
mature. We're going to be at 12
Vamp could
influence,
escape.
and then I'm sure that WcKaczek's going to be thinking, can I win with like a reckless ambush or something? WcKaczek is very strong in combat, and it's Scotsword's weakest point. Yeah, I think so. Wow, this is just ooh grueling. Philly thinks he just wanted to knock Stewart out of the fight. Maybe. Um. Ooh,
Fifth round, Fangs,
into a punch.
Punch. Okay.
Oh, was he mesmerized?
He's
Is that
mesmerized,
game?
yeah.
Now it's game. Oh,
Now
great
it's straight
strength.
strength.
Okay. Doesn't receive, but he still takes the point. Okay, so it's still
It's
game.
still it's still game because then the Vamp matures.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. I wonder if Scotchard wanted that to happen just to be put out of his misery.
Just to get out of the game, yeah.
That was like,
Yeah, the seduction on Mina there was that was brutal.
so. Drac is going to mature this vamp, take 13 points. It's going to be a 14-point win, and WcKaczek's team is going to be able to choose their role and their champion going into a tiebreaker game. So, um, yeah. So exciting game. It hurt to watch.
How
It
it
was
was the
entertaining,
fake
right?
wolf of Valona.
It was interesting to watch, right? It obviously was not. It was fairly one-sided, but it was entertaining to watch, and it does mean we're going to have an exciting tiebreaker match at some point, and we'll see how that goes. So,
Mm-hmm.
congrats to
Mm-hmm.
WcKaczek on the win. I mean, even when it looks like there's a ton of luck, the player has to play it right, and WcKaczek certainly did. He certainly used the advantages he had and pushed what he had and just played really masterfully. So he's got to be given credit for that. And Scotchard, honestly, I can't really criticize anything he did. So honestly, this is very high level play from both players, and it was really exciting to watch. And yeah, I'm gonna head on out in a sec. Before I go, Card, do you have any final words? Thanks for streaming with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a crazy game. Um, like you said, I can't blame Scotsword and how that was played. Sometimes the event cards just shake out that way. It'll be interesting to see what the teams decide for players to go forward in that sort of critical third match and to see which sides will be playing what. So looking forward to seeing that.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again to everyone in the chat. JB Philly, Natalia, Fangs of Fire, Geo. It's great having you all and having all of you chime in. And I look forward to seeing you all in both the third round of this pairing, whenever that happens, but also you guys probably already know, but if you don't, my teammate Andrazat is playing in the other semifinal game of the day. He is playing Strider 656. That's going to be at 4 p.m. my time or 56 minutes from now, anyone's time. So hope you all can come and check that out. With that, thanks again, and I will catch all you next time.